Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my brothers and sisters from this planet that we call Earth. It's your friend Daniel V.I.V.E, and I'm starting making these videos. You can already find some of my videos in my YouTube channel, where you can find me as Daniel V.I.V.E. But I'm going to organize a little bit more these videos, and I'm going to make them sequential, because what I want to do after a few weeks is start creating a program that you can follow week by week, so you can find them as Living with Awareness, which is the name of the program. First week, second week, third week, and probably we are going to need like 12 or 13 weeks. In every of these weeks I explain to you one of the codes that we have in the mountains, which is this consciousness and awareness platform that we are wearing and that we are using for these videos. So I will guide you week by week and ask you to do some rituals and some exercises, where at the end of this program maybe you can find a tool that is going to make you wake up. It's going to make you live with awareness, and it's going to make the unconscious very conscious. So it's going to be very, very important for me. But before even start doing this kind of thing, it's going to be very important to explain you what's the program about, who I am, and all these kind of things, because probably at this point, and definitely at this point, you have no idea who I am and all that kind of details. So let's start this video as an introductory video. Some of you already know me and have traveled with me in the past, so I please ask you to share this video so other people as well can know something about myself, about Peru, about Cusco, about the Incas, about this consciousness platform, about this belief system, about these rituals, and about these things that we do here in the mountains, in order to share a little bit of my culture that I'm sure if you follow the program. I'm making a book about this one. I'm writing a book where you can get it for physical as well, and probably follow in the future. I share this information as well in my trips. I do 9 days trips into Peru, and especially Cusco, Sacred Valley, Machu Picchu. In my retreat center, I take some brothers and sisters, and we do rituals, and we do guided meditation, and we do different kind of transcending activities, and we do whatever I consider is important in order to wake up. Well, let's start this video, and I'm going to call this one introductory video about Daniel V.I.V.E, myself, and you can know who I am and why I'm doing these kind of things. First of all, I was born in Cusco City. Cusco, if you have no idea what city it is in the world, it used to be the old capital of the Incan culture. And the Incan culture, or Peruvian culture, because Incan culture or Incan people is just the visible part of thousands of years of culture that we call pre-Incan culture. So we've been living in a certain way for thousands of years in the mountains of Peru and in the coast of Peru in a certain way, and it's that old that we actually test that it works. It's a lifestyle more than a philosophy or cosmovision. So I was born here where the Incas used to be. 500 years ago, this city where I live was like the Rome for the Romans, was the center of their life. The real name of this city is called Cusco, and in the local language that means the navel, the center, the belly button, the way you are united with the umbilical cord to Pachamama, which is the way how we call to Mother Earth. There are going to be many weird words probably for you, but don't worry about the words, don't worry about the meaning of the words. I'm going to explain you step by step about this belief system and about myself as well. So I was born like many people. I don't know if you know, but 100 years after Incas created a huge empire, Spaniards come. and Spaniards introduced Catholicism, and Spaniards introduced the Bible, and Spaniards introduced a completely different way of thinking. Actually, they kill and they prosecute to many people, and many of my ancestors, that they were called witches, that they were called shamans, that they were called in many different ways. Spaniards actually scare themselves about all what they found in this far, far place away from Europe in those days, and many of the people was killed. Fortunately, a lot of information survive in the DNA that we have of our ancestry. A lot of things survive in many writing that the same Spaniards started. So now we can speak about these things, and also people survive. People like the Queros, you can find them in Google. Queros is like the last guys who ran away from the Spaniards, found in a very, very far away place. To get that place, you have to basically walk some days and take many hours of bus there. So all this information survive, and that's what I'm going to share with you. But what happened with me? I was born in a big city. Nowadays it's 500,000 people living in this city, with a Catholic background, with Aboriginal, Indigenous, Andean, you can call it the way you want. But it's a very old and ancestral way of living and thinking. These both cultures crash. Spaniards try to disappear and banish completely our culture. We try to survive. We had to adapt one thing to the other, and that's the actual Peruvians in the mountains these days. So I was following many philosophies. I was baptized in Catholic Church, that's why I'm called Danny, or Daniel, which is my real name. And actually I keep also a Spanish last name, a surname. But I was reading about all philosophies, all the Greeks and all the Romans and all these important ideas from the past and European things. But at the same time I was living a certain way, being close to these communities that still are living like in the Incan times. And I never found an answer, and I never found something I thought, actually, that's what I believe, that's what I want, and this is the way I'm going to do from now on. I tried many, many things. I read basically about Aristotle, and I read about Hippocrates, and I read about Socrates, and I read about all these guys. And when I was like 18, 19 years old, I read about a guy who was called the Doc, who started a group called Cynics, where basically they say the truth is impossible to find it, so why to waste time trying to look for the truth? We just live as the animals live, and we just live without any kind of conscience, and we just enjoy life. And for many years I did it. I had like my hippie time, and I had my time when I was just having fun, and my time when I was smoking some weed and just trying to look for a different way of living, because the way I was living at that point, I didn't consider myself what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was feeling that something was missing. So considering that I'm being a tour guide for 20 years, and I've been taking people from all the way around the world to these cultures, these groups, these communities that survived to the Spaniards, and many times even myself, I was completely amazed about the things that we were talking with these people. I started thinking about that maybe the way I was looking for in outside, in exterior cultures for many, many years ago was in my own DNA, in my own culture. And I start talking with the people, and I start trying to get some information from the people, because we don't have Bibles, we don't have written text, we don't have anything than just a lifestyle, and that just things that they are passed from parents to children orally. So many years ago I discovered one of these guys coming from these communities, and he told me about the 7 codes of living, how to live and how to wake up the consciousness in 9 different ways, from the basic one to the time and the day when you become the sun. You start as a mountain, as a rock, exist in a certain place, in a certain time, and do nothing else in the world that we know, in the way the world it is, or we just live like an animal, or we realize that we are human beings, or we realize that we are gods and creators of our own reality. And then we go and go and go and go. I'm going to make more videos with more details about all these things I'm telling to you. This is just to show you how I found this thing. Then 6 or 7 years ago, I met quantum physics, and about the quantum, and about all the experiments that the Army in the United States and many other people were doing. And I was completely amazed. For me, hearing about the quantum physics was like, wow, the scientific explanation of something I know, and something I know the people who live around here knows, and the way we've been living, explained this time by the science. I went into many courses. I become a coach, motivational and awareness coach. I start getting some information about mindfulness. I did in Colombia some investigations about neuro-linguistic programmation. I learned many techniques about how to get into the unconscious, and all things I was living and all things I met until that point make me believe that I have a mission. Last year, because I met many, I don't like to use the word shaman, because we are not shamans. We don't call ourselves shamans. Just we have different levels of consciousness. But a kind of shaman, a really good friend of mine, told me if I want to come into this world, if I want to see things in a metaphysical way, in an esoteric way, farther than just the physical things that we know for sure. And I initiated myself as something that we call Pampa Misayo here, a guy who goes a little bit higher than just a human being, a regular human being, a guy who filled with power. And I discovered through this initiation process, because initiation was pretty simple, was about make a ritual and an offering to Pachamama run by her, and then actually was about, now I cannot teach you anything else, and you have to find, and you have to realize the answers inside of you with the help of the universe. So I thought it was going to be very easy, to be honest. I read a lot about these things. I knew about these things already, but things start changing in my life completely. The way I saw life, for me, changed completely, because I started looking farther than with my 5 senses. It was born inside me a kind of 6th sense. It was hard to realize that just 10% of my brain is logic and 90% is a primitive brain. It's a reptilian brain. It's where we save all things that happen in our life, and that's what decide what we do. Was complicated to trying to change certain habits and behavior patterns, thinking that I can change them just very simple, just praying, just meditating, just living in a certain way. I know nothing. I try to find answers in a lot of knowledge. I try to find answers in books. I try to find answers in seminars. I try to find answers in universities. I try to find answers in groups. I try to find answers in gurus. I try to find answers in many things and nothing. And then eventually this girl told me, now go. He baptized me like V.I.V.E, which is the other name I use, Daniel, my Catholic name, and V.I.V.E, the name given by this woman. V.I.V.E means wind, actually the messenger of the wind. So one of the things I was asked is go by myself for 1 week, just eating coca leaves and just some fruits and water, and be by myself. And I thought it was going to be fun. The first day was amazing, and the second, third, and fourth was harder and harder and harder, because I started discovering that all of us, has a kind of 6th sense, that over the sight, over the taste, over the senses that we have, you can actually feel over the mental part of ourselves in the center, like a brain here in the center, and we can actually, before the information, the mental information comes, we can pre-feel, we can feel with the heart, and I start looking the world in a different way, and I start feeling the earth and the universe inside of myself. And I'm going to make another video about this in a couple of weeks. I'm flying to the jungle of Peru. Most of 52%, most of our country's jungle. And I'm going to some masters who do ayahuasca. If you never heard about ayahuasca before, it's a root plant that these guys knows, and they discover how they can combine with other ones and created something that goes straight into the emotional memory and all things that we don't want to remember, all the things that we are trying to cover and forget and then look because this is scary for us, opens to you if you do from the sacred perspective, if you do with a mission, if you go to this thinking about that you want to find something specific. It's like a therapy of shock, because things that you don't want to remember, and the brain has been created to remember. You cannot forget things, but you can forgive things, and especially yourself. So I'm doing this a kind of cleansing, a kind of way to heal myself, a kind of way to discover myself, because I'm just a beginner, I'm just an initiated, I'm just a student. I'm trying to, besides the theory, try to experience by myself that all things that I'm going to share with you work, and that I truly believe in them. I started this program I'm going to share with you doing by myself like 4 months ago, more or less. And it works. And it's not easy, because change patterns is hard. The unconscious memory, it's complicated. When you are used to do certain things, as soon as you don't do that things, as soon as you want to change those behaviors, as soon as you want to go out from your comfort zone, the brain push with all the strength it has, it push you to repeat things all the time. And I'm not going to lie you, I'm not going to tell you, I'm sure, because I discovered magic exists for real. But there is not a magical word, there is not a magical ritual, and there is not one pill that I'm going to give you, or that I can take myself and change the things from one day to the other. It requires patience, it requires work, it requires repetition, it requires of faith. But the most important thing, it requires that you recognize by yourself, not that somebody else tells you, not that I'm telling to you, but you discover by yourself that you are not happy with what you have, that you want to change something, that you want to do something different in your life. And then, with faith, with patience, and with repetition, you can do whatever you want. You can transcend things. Why it's very important for me to be a messenger of awareness? It's very important for me because, like Carl Jung said, the famous psychologist, if you don't wake up the unconsciousness, if you don't make the unconsciousness become consciousness, the unconsciousness, is going to lead your life. And you are going to call it destiny. And there is no destiny. There is no faith. You make your own fate. Well, you or your unconscious. And your unconscious is unconscious. And if you put consciousness, if you live with awareness, if you breathe with awareness, if you walk with awareness, if you eat with awareness, if you speak with awareness, and if you live with awareness, you can do amazing things. We are capable to create miracles. We are capable to create whatever we want. And that's what I'm doing, these kind of things. I'm going to come back with another video where I'm going to explain you about the consciousness level, the platform, the belief system, the lifestyle, the cosmovision, the philosophy. You can tag it as you want. We don't mind to be tagged or have titles or anything like this. What we mind is to share this information with you. So please, I'm going to ask you, if you are my friend, if you know me already, share this video with other people that you think eventually they could have benefits of looking this. What's the worst thing that could happen? You try, it doesn't work for you, and you go for something else. But if it works, if after you follow the program, this is going to be a change for you, that means real change for you, and that means that you are living in a better way, you can share this information with other people. And then once you grow, I grow. Once you wake up, I do wake up. Once you heal, I heal. And once we discover that we are all connected, and whatever happened with you happens with me. And if I do good things for you, I'm doing good things for myself. When I discover about love, when I discover about reciprocity, when I discover that what I give comes back to me 10 times multiplied, when I recognize my existence and the existence of the other things of the universe, when I discover the universe has been working for 15 million years in the way it is working, with perfect geometry, with mathematics, with patterns, we discover that we don't want to change the world. We just have to change ourselves. We don't want to change things that we cannot change because it depends on all the rules, it's other people, it's societies. But like 90% of what happens in your life, I guarantee you, 90% of what happens in your life is your decision. And you can change your own reality. And whatever bad thing that happen in your life, according with your perspective, always comes with a magnificent gift behind. That every bad thing encrypts a fantastic future, something amazingly good. When you discover that we can love in an unconditional way. That's a program about. It's simple things, things you have heard before, things that you know in your interior, that they work for real. But you know what's the problem? It's too simple. And when you tell to human beings, do something very simple as a solution, they tell you, no, I don't believe it works because it's too simple. I've been doing hard, complicated equations and complicated things in my life, very hard solutions for hard problems, but it's not working. What you shows to me is too simple, that for sure it doesn't work. And we just ignore it because it's too simple. And that's a problem with the simple things. But guys, I want to share this, and I want to spread the message, and I want to change the world, changing myself, and I want to be a messenger in order to at least ask you to do exercises, to do rituals, to do very, very simple things. You will see once you see the steps of the program. I'm going to ask you that simple things, that you can do it in 10 minutes per day. But eventually it's going to create the correct mind program, the correct energy, the correct feelings, the correct behaviors, the correct patterns. And that's what is this about. I will be back, and you will find in the channel everything pretty well done, very well organized in a sequential way, where you are going to find this as the introductory video about myself. Then the next one is going to be an introductory video about the platform itself. Then it's going to explain about the 7 codes, and I'm going to make step by step the theoretical explanation, thing by thing, in order you understand from the logical way how it works and why, and ask you to do little exercises and little things that probably are going to help you to do things in an awareness way, in a better way. And this is going to be this about. Thank you for hearing, thank you for sharing, thank you for telling your friends that this is something that maybe can help to us in the future. A lot of unconditional love for yourself, and I will be back in a week explaining to you about how the system is about, then the next one with the program, how it works, and then step by step getting into the program in order to grow together as human beings. Have an amazing week. Remember to try to wake up your own awareness step by step, from basic things like breathing, like walking, like eating, and see you in a week. Have an amazing time.